And welcome to Noise with Ivan. I have been listening to ambient noise walls that I want to talk about. This is a great coffee that I'm having. Um, so, yeah, I have a handful of ambient noise walls. Been grinding out on Rate Your Music, trying to find stuff that's low key, and I think I have found some things that are are not commonly heard, and I forgot I put in my pocket some of our new releases on Not of the Flesh. The first one is Moral Depravity by Way of Comfort by Contrite Heart. By the way, I don't know if these are out yet. I'm recording this way before the fact. When in Rome by Source is going to be coming out soon. These are uh, kind of uniform in the way that they're designed. I love the minimalistic CDR releases. This is how I want noise to be. And if you want them, order them because we don't necessarily sell a lot of stuff. This is not on our label, but Laceration Dress has a new CDR with Roman Shower. He reached out to me. It's on Hidden Window Recordings. So, yeah, he reached out to me to make a CDR. I used to work with him a lot. And I went ahead and put it together. It's looking good. So you can listen to this on the Hidden Window Bandcamp page or the Hidden Window YouTube page. That's where you can find that to listen to. If you want the CDR, you can ask me. I have plenty of copies. I'm also supposed to be giving them author copies, but they never really gave me information on who to ship them to, how much they need, whatever. I made like 20 to 30, something like that. There should be plenty. If I have to make more, I have to make more. This is the Hailing Her Heavens, Accusations from Demonic Spirits in the Air. Released, this is out now. It was released a little while ago, along with Cherubim by Sado Rituals. Both Shremos projects. This is, again, it has that uniform, kind of minimalistic composition on the back that I really like. This one's a little bit fancier, right? Great harsh noise walls. And my own harsh noise wall is on a very, very humble packaging. I wanted to package something like this for a long time. Just a super plain looking, looks like I was just handing it out. And that's pretty much what I am doing. Everything's $3 on Not of the Flesh. All of our okay, not true. Most CDRs are $5. Some of the higher end ones, if you want to, some of the higher end ones are $7. I got to talk about those. And these ones are, yeah, these ones are $3. The higher end ones are $7. If it's somebody who I have to ship author copies to, it's going to be $5. So other artists have CDRs for $5. Ours are $3 for me and Sado Rituals. And then the high end ones, we have pre-orders going now for Life is Suffering, HNRD, and Mass Graven Image. They all have albums out on Gates of Hypnos. We are running pre-orders for cassettes, which are $9, and CDRs in professional CDRs made by Kunaki that are $7. So if you want any of those, go ahead and grab them. I wanted to do basically what I would want from a label, which is I can buy 10 to 15 CDRs for and pay $5 for shipping for one of them, and then an extra $1 per item, so that it's a little bit cheap. Because it's preposterous that you would have to spend, if you're buying a $3 CDR and then pay another $5 for shipping, you got $8 right there. You might as well buy in bulk. But do whatever you want. We appreciate any support, and I will also send you stickers. Roll the intro. I want to apologize right off the bat for that long of an intro, or like that long of a preface, but I have stuff I have to advertise. It's my job. Uh, One of the things, this is not okay. Let me first talk about ambient noise walls because I want to primarily talk about that today. It's been a new, I was talking to Tremo about harsh noise, and I've obviously learned about a lot of it trying to review it on Noise with Ivan, and then I recently started um, reviewing stuff and listening to stuff from RYM, and it has recently, yeah, it's become a focus of mine to listen to ambient noise walls, and it's something that works really well for me. And I just went to the bottom of the least reviewed stuff or lowest rated. Like, I went to the top. You can do lists on RYM, and I went to the top ambient noise walls, and I went all the way back to like page 37. It was like the 1000th thing in ambient noise walls. The thing that stood out to me was, and I listened to a few of them. The one that stood out to me was Empty Flower. It has an album called Crush. It's got a cassette cover, and on the Bandcamp it had not much, as far as I think it was like a 2.0 rating in the Bandcamp, but people seemed to like it on Bandcamp. But it was the only release I could find from Empty Flower. And it was set up like ambient noise walls tend to be, but it shocked me a couple seconds into it because you start hearing this really relaxing kind of vaporwave video game style music along with the noise wall that lasted for a little while, but that was maybe 2 minutes, and then it just ended up working as an intro. I thought at first that it was an ambient noise wall and then there was music with it, because it was just noise for a second and then we had regular music, and then I was like, oh, this is going to be regular music. That's kind of not what I signed up for when I was looking for ambient noise walls to listen to. This is just kind of lo-fi. It's as if it's a static that goes along with the music, but no, the music lasted for about 2 minutes, and then you get a solid harsh noise wall. I want to say each of them are like 30 minutes. In both of the tracks are like that. It's a musical intro that lets you rest in ambient music. So if you like that, I like it. It just kind of puts you in a more relaxed mood. I think that for new noise listeners, it's a little bit more tough to ease yourself into a noise wall. So if you're not necessarily wanting to have the intense psychological reaction that we tend to have to noise, this is a very, very good way to enjoy a noise wall and go ahead and listen to some music that just kind of gets you ready and gets you in the mood to sink into the noise wall. But yeah, that was a pretty cool release. I didn't think that it should be all the way down on the list of ambient noise walls. Moybridge, Goat Walking, Pulling Sulky. I should have there. This is just ancient sounding, very 1800s. He has a handful of these releases that have just old photographs of mostly animals. I think they're all animals. And it sounds like a tape that's falling apart. It sounds like, I think I said in the review that it felt like you got trapped, in felt like you got trapped interdimensionally. You're time traveling to the 1800s, but something went wrong, and you had like one of those interstellar moments when you're stuck in a bookcase, and you just hear this crazy sound. All you can experience is sound. The sound like of dust and crumbling. Very cool. I really liked it. And I think that I would like to listen to all of those, but the thing with that kind of number is that, yeah, you can't just listen to them all in one day, you know. But hopefully, I'm going to be able to have this archive of music where I'll say this is a great day for a Muybridge noise wall. While I read maybe possibly one of these books, maybe that's a goal. Listen to all the Muybridge noise walls, and read through some volumes like this. It would actually, I could probably listen to all those and only get through one of these books behind me. You know, the problem with this, going along with Crush, because Crush had kind of an ambient cover, there was an album called Tsukihime. And I didn't think that it would be a problem to listen to this person's discography. It seemed like a really cool release based on a visual novel. I don't know anything about the visual novel, but it's this in that it has an anime cover and in that it has musical intros. This goes right hand in hand with the Empty Flower release that I listened to. It has just musical introductions to a noise wall, which just gets you ready for it. And it was, I think, 10 tracks, 12 tracks, something like that, maybe just 7, but they were all these 10-minute noise walls with musical intros. And that's, to me, a really valuable release. The music is, I'm fairly certain, from the visual novel. You know how you're going through a visual novel and each track has, each like episode has different music that plays in the background, where it's like, and they're talking and stuff. It's like that music, which is like elevator music, and then it's a noise wall. So it creates this intensely emotional, intensely emotional presence. Like, it's super wistful and sad when you have the music and then you let go of it and you fall into a void. And that's what kind of came into my mind. Like, if you get the game that's coming to my mind is BioShock Infinite. I played that game and it was like, oh, you know, it was so gripping. I played it all in one day, and you get attached to the characters and all of that stuff. And then when you're done with the game, it's even more than a movie, but movies are this way too. When you get done with the game and then you realize, oh, that's not real life anymore. I can't live for those things. I don't get to look forward to talking to that person because it was all not real. And now you have this void in your life because you've been living for something that isn't real. As you've been experiencing and you've been personally experiencing an emotional roller coaster in a visual novel or in a video game, and then you get done with it and you have a longing for it afterward. I really attribute this release to that feeling. I thought that it was incredibly artistic in the way that it did that. So absolutely a standout album to me in that way. It really captured that emotion. That in think about like what's going on in Japan now, where they're saying that no one's procreating, and everyone there, like, the Japanese are going to go extinct or something like that because they just don't they don't procreate. And I always think about, yeah, well, the Japanese, and I've always been baffled by how much output of cartoons, manga, and they consume it too. And then you find out, like, you'll watch like the Clash live in Tokyo or Lightning Bolt live in Tokyo. Like, there's all these Japanese performances, and the Japanese are just going crazy over our American music. And I'm like, you have so many bands, hardcore bands, and musical artists in Japan that are so much better than any American artist. And y'all are still going crazy over these American artists. They are so far ahead of every other country as far as music and culture, video games, everything, right? Like 90% of what the rest of the world consumes, it seems like, is Japanese. There's so much Japanese media, and that's the crazy thing, is they take in so much more media than anybody else. That's what I'm thinking of when I hear this release. we really appreciate those kinds of things, and they're genius artistically. I was also going to say, think about how much better Dragon Ball is than G.I. Joe. I think when you're as good at that, or you're as knowledgeable about stuff like that, and when you compose like that, sometimes it comes from being consumed by the substance, which sometimes is media, right? Media can work the same way that, and especially, I mean, we're talking about ambient noise walls. Ambient noise walls work like drugs. They they put your mind in a certain place, and then you can't participate in real life because you've been consumed by video games, you've been consumed by manga, whatever it is, you know. But that's not something that American culture is free of. You know, in fact, I think it's probably our fault that Japan's that way. When you think about art, like it's a painting, you look at a painting and experience what the painting actually says, that's a positive thing. But when you create another world to live in, that can rip your life apart, because that fake world is so much better than the real world. I think it's a big falling part for a lot of gamers. Um, and with the amount of noise that we create, I think that that's also possible for us. So, just maybe something to think about, something to talk about. And yeah, I've already nailed 15, 16 minutes. I talked about cosmic silence in the last episode. Um, it's really good that I nailed Tsukihime. Another one is soothing immersion, dosis lethalis. This is something called lowercase noise walls. One thing I noticed is that it works. I've smoked weed very few times, maybe like 3. But what my experience was with it was that it didn't make me high in the way that I think about being high. Um, let's put another drug. Let's use another drug for the experience of harsh noise or ambient noise walls. Gas. The like duster or something like that, or whippets. It makes you like completely consumed like this. But weed for me, I thought that, and again, I don't know anything about it really. It just made everything else present. I noticed the sounds around me. I noticed I noticed my thoughts more, as opposed to it taking over my brain. I didn't think that that was the case. Or let's say, as opposed to duster. I've never tried acid, or mushrooms. You know, maybe a little hit of weed as opposed to acid or mushrooms. This is what lowercase noise walls are like. Um, Lowercase noise walls are such minimal sound, and it's such a small sizzle that it provides more context for the sounds around you. You notice everything else that's going on. You can't really just completely focus on it. That's objectively what I noticed. That it just gave more substance to all the things that were around me, as opposed to me being able to focus on that. It's not that I couldn't focus on it. It's that it really made more or something different of everything else that was happening. I noticed the sounds in the room as I was listening to it, which granted I probably should have been using over ear headphones for that kind of thing. But with a lot of harsh noise, you don't need it. So I got like a sizzle and a stream, but I also got like a crispy sound. It was wet. It was like a wet type of crispy. It's like freshly fried chicken. I watched a video recently of a rat prancing across the table. It was like Popeyes or something. And then it hopped in the air fryer. And then it tried to jump out, but when it jumped out, it was just like basically a chicken wing. Or like it was completely fried. And I was like, that's crazy. but it was probably an AI video. I love Popeyes. Go eat Popeyes. Nothing wrong with Popeyes. So yeah, I would love to get into lowercase a little bit more recently, but that's what I noticed. Lowercase, I think, falls under the category of ambient noise walls. But new situation for me. I might be able to make a video in the future about lowercase, but that's just kind of at the end of this. And there's a couple more things that I do want to address. Honestly, I have maybe 3 more albums to talk about, but I've only been getting a handful in each episode. So that's okay, not a problem. Read your Bibles, be in prayer. Listen to the music here on my channel. That's beneficial to me. I don't make money off Noise with Ivan, just streams. So if you can listen to Slavery or anything like that, that'd be nice.